Chapter 2. The Evidence of the Secretary. For a minute or two, Poirot remained lost in thought. "I think," he said at last, "that it would have been well to have a further word with Mr. McQueen, in view of what we now know." The young American appeared promptly. "Well," he said, "how are things going?" "Not too badly. Since our last conversation I have learned something, the identity of Mr. Ratchet." Hector McQueen leaned forward interestedly. "Yes," he said. "Ratchet, as you suspected, was merely an alias. The man Ratchet was Cassetti, who ran the celebrated kidnapping stunts, including the famous affair of little Daisy Armstrong." An expression of utter astonishment appeared on McQueen's face. Then it darkened. "That damned skunk!" he exclaimed. "You had no idea of this, Mr. McQueen?" "No, sir," said the young American decidedly. "If I had, I'd cut off my right hand before I had a chance to do secretarial work for him." "You feel strongly about the matter, Mr. McQueen." "I have a particular reason for doing so. My father was a district attorney who handled the case, Mr. Poirot. I saw Mrs. Armstrong more than once. She was a lovely woman, so gentle and heartbroken." His face darkened. "If ever a man deserved what he got, Ratchet or Cassetti is the man." I rejoiced at his end. Such a man wasn't fit to live. "You almost feel as though you have been willing to do the good deed yourself?" "I do. He paused and added rather guiltily, "Seems like kind of incriminating myself." "I should be more inclined to suspect you, Mr. McQueen, if you displayed an inordinate sorrow at your employer's decease." "I don't think I could do that even to save myself from the chair," said McQueen grimly. Then he added, "If I'm not being unduly curious, just how do you figure out Cassetti's identity, I mean?" "By a fragment of letter found in his compartment." "But surely, that was rather careless of the old man." "That depends," said Poirot, "on the point of view." The young man seemed to find this remark rather baffling. He stared at Poirot, as though trying to make him out. "The task before me," said Poirot, "is to make sure of the movements of everyone on the train. No offense need be taken, you understand. It is only a matter of routine." "Sure, get right on with it, and let me clear my character if I can." "I need hardly ask you the number of your compartment," said Poirot, smiling, "since I shared it with you for a night. It was a second-class compartment, number 6 and 7, and after my departure you had it to yourself?" "That's right. Now, Mr. McQueen, I want you to describe your movements last night from the time of leaving the dining car." "That's quite easy. I went back to my compartment, read a bit, got on the platform in Belgrade, decided it was too cold, and got in again. I talked for a while to an English lady who was in the compartment next to mine. Then I fell into conversation with that Englishman, Colonel Arbuthnot. As a matter of fact, I think you passed us as we were talking. Then I went in to Mr. Ratchet and, as I told you, took down some memoranda of letters he had written. I said good night to him and left him. Colonel Arbuthnot was still standing in the corridor. His compartment was already made up for the night, so I suggested that he should come along to mine. I ordered a couple of drinks, and we got right down to it, discussed world politics and the government of India, and our troubles with prohibition and the Wall Street crisis. I don't as a rule cotton to Britishers. They're a stiff-necked lot, but I like this one. Do you know what time it was when he left you?" "Pretty late. Nearly 2 o'clock, I should say." "You noticed that the train had stopped?" "Oh, yes. We wondered a bit. Looked out and saw the snow lying very thick, but we didn't think it was serious." "What happened when Colonel Arbuthnot finally said good night?" "He went along to his compartment. I called to the conductor to make up my bed." "Where were you whilst he was making it?" "Standing just outside the door in the corridor smoking a cigarette. And then I went to bed and slept till morning." "During the evening did you leave the train at all?" "Arbuthnot and I thought we'd get out. What was the name of the place? Vin Coffee, to stretch our legs a little bit. But it was bitterly cold, a blizzard on. We soon held back again." "By which door did you leave the train?" "By the nearest one to our compartment." "The one next to the dining car?" "Yes." "Do you remember if it was bolted?" McQueen considered. "Why, yes. I seem to remember it was. At least there was a kind of bar that fitted across the handle. Is that what you mean?" "Yes." "On getting back into the train, did you replace that bar?" "Why, no, I don't think I did. I got in last. No, I don't remember. I don't seem to remember doing so." He added suddenly, "Is that an important point?" "It may be. Now I presume, monsieur, that while you and Colonel Arbuthnot were sitting talking, the door of your compartment into the corridor was open?" Hector McQueen nodded. "I want you, if you can, to tell me if anyone passed along that corridor after the train left Vinkovy up to the moment you parted company for the night." McQueen drew his brows together. "I think the conductor passed along once, and coming from the direction of the dining car, and a woman passed the other way, going towards it." "Which woman?" "I couldn't say. I didn't really notice. You see, I was arguing a point with Arbuthnot. I just seem to remember a glimpse of some scarlet silk affair passing the door. I didn't look, and anyway, I wouldn't have been able to see the person's face. As you know, my carriage faces the dining car end of the train, so a woman going along the corridor in that direction would have her back to me as soon as she passed." Poirot nodded. "She was going to the toilet, I presume?" "I suppose so." "And you saw her return?" Well, no, now that you mention it, I didn't notice her returning, but I suppose she must have done so. One more question. Do you smoke pipe, Mr. McQueen? No, sir, I do not. Poirot paused a moment. I think that is all at present. I should now like to see the valet of Mr. Ratchet. By the way, did both you and he always travel second class? He did, but I usually went first, if possible, in the compartment adjoining Mr. Ratchet's. Then he had most of his baggage put in my compartment, and yet could get at both it and me easily whenever he chose. But on this occasion all the first-class berths were booked, except the one that he took. I comprehend. Thank you, Mr. McQueen.